So I want to take a deep dive into the Mega framework, which is the signature framework upon which the Mega Woman community stands on. Now, the Mega is not actually a word, it's an acronym. It's an acronym that is about how you can live your life from a place of ease and grace. So let's take a deep dive into what that means. The Mega Woman is an acronym that stands for being magnetic, elegant, graceful, and aligned. And these are 4 pillars that I have found that for women who want to live a life from a place of ease and grace, for women who want to lead in their lives, whether it's in their corporate spaces, at home, wherever they find themselves in the role of leadership, wherever they want to lead from that place without burning out, without overwhelm, the Mega pillar is something that you want to really embody into your day-to-day life. So let's dive in. First of all, what is the Mega framework and why is it important? So the Mega framework speaks to the woman who leads herself. It's about how she carries herself, the way she relates with others, the way she builds impact, the way she moves through life with power and with a sense of embodied and sustainable energy. And each pillar represents if you like, a dimension of that femininity, a dimension of feminine leadership. Everything that we do in the Mega Woman community is all about how do we lead from a place of our feminine power, our feminine energy, and our feminine embodiment. It's about how do we drop the shoulders of that masculine energy and really embody a lot more of our feminine energy. So let's take a dive into what the Mega acronym really means. So let's start with M. M is for magnetic. Now, the core essence with this meaning is that magnetic is all about that energy of presence. It's the energy of personal power. It's the energy of confidence. It's the life force that goes through within you and it's what brings attraction into your life. So it's all about to what extent do you exude the energy, the vibration, the frequency of the person that you desire to be, of the things that you desire into your life. So being magnetic is the ability to be felt before you are fully known. That means you are like this fragrance that comes into the room, and long after you have left that room, your fragrance is still alive. It is not manipulation. It is not performance. It is not about chasing attention. It is about you standing in your natural essence. So being magnetic is about your inner world being in order, being intact, and therefore exuding your external world. So let's talk about what does magnetic look like? It looks like walking into a room grounded in confidence. It looks like speaking with clarity. It looks like being so embodied in who you are. It looks like attracting aligned opportunities. It looks like owning your gifts and really feeling like you know who you are. It looks like taking up space, being visible, being confident in your presence. You are not afraid to take the seat at the table. You are not afraid to enter into those rooms. And when you enter into those rooms, everybody stops and recognizes that a presence has entered the room. Being magnetic is not about being loud. It's not about being obnoxious. It's not about your ego. It's not about being aggressive. It's not about being angry. It's not about dominating and taking up unnecessary space. Being magnetic is a woman who feels radiant. She feels self-assured. She's comfortable in her skin. She's comfortable in environments that she finds herself in. She no longer hides. She trusts herself and she allows the values that she stands upon to be what guides her in every decision that she makes. When your sense of being magnetic is blocked, you're going to find that you tend to play small. You're going to be afraid of opportunities. You're going to have self-doubt. You're going to You're going to fall into the imposter phenomenon. You're going to feel like you don't deserve good things. All of those elements are a sign of a woman who hasn't stepped into her full magnetic power. So how do you bring out this magnetic version of yourself? What are some of the things that you should do? Well, let me give you 3 coaching questions that you want to ask yourself to help you really step into your magnetic power. Question 1, where am I dimming myself? So this is where you get the opportunity to reflect and think about, where have I played small? Where have I said yes when I really wanted to say no? Where have I refused certain opportunities that my heart absolutely wanted? When you ask yourself this question, it will start to reflect back to you those places where you are no longer willing to dim your light, you are no longer willing to play small. The second coaching question to ask yourself, what would shift if I believed that I truly am deserving? What would shift if I truly believed that I belong in the spaces that I desire to be in? This is such a powerful question, and when you really reflect on this question, it gives you the opportunity to think about what needs to leave your life almost immediately. What are you no longer prepared to continue to carry as a heavy backpack on your shoulders? And what are you ready to step into? And this might look like you're ready to shift that mindset that says you can't have it all. You're ready to shift that mindset that says you need to be perfect and have everything in line first before you go for your dreams. Maybe you need to shift this idea of one day when and go for it in this moment now. That is what being magnetic does. It doesn't wait for permission. Being a magnetic woman is a woman who gives herself permission. So, what are some practical things to develop being a magnetic woman? 1, own your voice. You literally want to do voice work, whether it's singing, whether it's shouting, whether it's talking, whether it's speaking up in meetings. The more you vocalize, the more you are literally sending out frequency that you are present in the universe. And so vocalizing, using your voice, being empowered to speak is one of the fastest ways to start developing being magnetic. You then want to think about embodying the presence of a woman who's magnetic. I want you to really go back to that metaphor that I shared about being that fragrance that fills the room. It's an invisible fragrance, but you feel it, you smell it, you embody it. And so you want to practice, how do I show up in every space as a woman who is magnetic? How do I carry myself? How do I hold my shoulders? How do I put myself together? How do I look? Now, don't get me wrong, being magnetic is not about how beautiful you are and how perfectly beat your makeup is. But it is about you feeling so comfortable in yourself that however you show up, you are showing up as the queen. One of my favorite fun ways to really embody being magnetic is to stand in front of the mirror. Literally go in front of the mirror when you're done with watching this, of course, and look at yourself. Look at yourself beyond what you see physically and look at yourself spirit to spirit. Let your eyes connect with the divine version of who you are. And I absolutely guarantee you, when you begin to see yourself through your divine eyes, it is so hard not to fall in love with yourself. And falling in love with yourself doesn't mean you're full of yourself, doesn't mean you're vain. It means that you really recognize that you are a woman of worth. You are a woman who has value. You are a woman who has so much to offer this world. And then the final thing to really embody being magnetic is taking care of your nervous system. What do I mean by that? Your nervous system is what regulates your emotions, your anxieties, your highs, your lows. And many of us as women, we are living with very, very trapped, constricted nervous systems. And what we want to do in order to embody our magnetic energy is to shift that energy. Easiest way to do that? Move, get into a place of flow, get into a place of movement in your body so that trapped energy has capacity to leave your body And as it leaves your body, it makes room for that expansive energy that being magnetic is all about. Remember, magnetic women do not chase recognition. They are the ones that are rememberable. They are the ones who give themselves permission to shine. And because they shine, it is impossible for them to not be seen. So let's talk about the second pillar of the Mega framework, which is E, and that stands for elegant. Now, elegant isn't about how beautiful you are. There is a place for that, but in this context, we're really speaking to how poised you are in the challenges of life, how you allow yourself to go through the flows of life from a place of ease and grace. Elegant is the energy of refinement. It is about discernment. It is about composure, standards, and communication. It is the energy of intentionality. Everything you do in this pillar is always about being well curated, intentional, strategic, but at the same time honing in on your discernment. Because your discernment will tell you what is right and what isn't right. Your discernment will tell you how you are positioning. Your discernment will tell you what energy is going out and what energy you are receiving. And these are the things that allow you to recalibrate in the environment that you find yourself in. Elegance is not about expensive clothes. It is not about perfection. It is not about that perfectly made up face. It is not about the surface things. It is about how you think. It is about the way you communicate. It is about the way you show up and you are experienced as well. Elegant is internal order expressing itself externally. In other words, the more well calibrated you are on the inside, the more you show up externally in a composed, poised, structured, and yet soft space. So what does elegant look like? Elegant is about how you speak. It looks like speaking clearly but with respect. It looks like responding rather than reacting. It looks like making wise decisions. It looks like having standards and boundaries in relationships. It looks like carrying calm authority. And it looks like choosing peace over chaos. Elegant doesn't do drama. Elegant doesn't do chaos. Elegant does simplicity. Now, here's one thing I want to really explain here. Elegant does not mean perfection. Elegant is your capacity to navigate difficult terrains, challenges of life, but do so from a place of ease and grace, doing so from a place of least resistance. And what that means is that you can face hard things, you can have really dark moments, you can have moments of despair, you can have emotional moments as well. But in those moments, having gone through those processes, you find those spaces where you put yourself back together, where you recalibrate your energy, where you put your crown back in the position it was supposed to be. And you continue the journey such that when people look at you, they may see scars, but they will know that these are scars of beauty. Such that when people look at you, you won't actually see the challenges that you have been through. They see the refinement, just like how gold is refined. What elegant is not? Elegant is not perfection. It is not pretense. It is not coldness or bitchiness. It is not image obsession. It is not performance. So you're not trying to be, you just simply are. When elegant is healthy in a woman becomes trusted. She becomes clear in her communication. She becomes boundaried. She gives with love, but also knows how to say no in love. She knows how to set those boundaries in place. She doesn't feel guilt for those boundaries. And she communicates those boundaries in such a way that others respect her for those boundaries. So elegant, when it's healthy in a woman, really shows her as this priestess, as this woman who has capacity to hold many dimensions, but still keep her composure at the same time. When a woman is blocked in this area, she's likely to demonstrate things like people pleasing, thinking that she has to self-sacrifice in order to be accepted, in order to be loved, in order to be appreciated. And therefore she overgives, she sacrifices more than necessary. And what results in that is overwhelm, burnout, and exhaustion. A woman who's blocked in her elegance will also be a woman who really struggles with decision making. Because remember what we said about this pillar, it's about being intentional. It's about knowing how to communicate. It's about being clear in your mind. And so if you find that you're indecisive, you are not sure of yourself, there's an element of this particular pillar that needs work and needs refining. So what are some of the things that you can do to support you, to help you to really develop this particular pillar? Some great coaching questions for you. Number one, where am I accepting less than I desire? This is a brilliant question because it's going to really, really show up where you have been really accepting and tolerating things that you should no longer be tolerating. This is a powerful question if you're really serious about letting the old version of yourself go and giving capacity for the new version of yourself to emerge. Another question that you can ask, how can I communicate more clearly? If you are a woman that struggles to say her truth, if you're a woman that struggles to say no when you really, really want to say no, this is a reflection question that you really want to take seriously. How can you communicate clearly? And understand that clear communication doesn't have to be aggressive, doesn't have to be emotional, doesn't have to be bitchy. It can be still steeped in love. It can still be steeped in assertiveness. It can still be steeped in compassion. But that clear communication means that you are communicating from the depths of your heart. You're communicating from your space of truth so that you are no longer actually just doing things that other people want you to do. And then the final question that you can ask yourself, if this is a pillar that you want to really develop around, is your standards. What standards do I need to raise in order to embody the elegance in me? Because standards will let you know what you need to be saying no to, and standards will let you know what you need to allow into your life. A woman who doesn't have standards will be a woman who just accepts anything into her life, and that's where she loses momentum. That's where she loses her personal power. So take some time to reflect on these questions. Get your journal out, put some music on, get your candles out, and really ask yourself, how are you going to move forward with your life now that you've got these questions to support you? Some practical things to help you develop this pillar of being elegant. Boundaries, 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 boundaries. Do not be afraid to set those boundaries, ladies. This is where you get to own and sit in your power when you are clear on what you're going to be able to accept and what you're not going to be able to accept. And when you communicate that to other people, they actually respect you a lot more than you think. It may seem like a scary thing to tell people no, to say, sorry, I can't do this, to say, I'm not going to be coming to this. But eventually it teaches people how to relate with you. It teaches people the frequency to which they need to be engaging with you. And that's how you maintain your feminine power. Some other practical ways: be a woman of decision. Be decisive. I like to say that there are only two decisions that we need to ever be worried about. One is the decision that we make. The moment you make that decision, there is a second decision that you need to make. And that second decision is that whatever the outcome of this decision you have made, you are going to be okay with it. Meaning you're not going to regret, you're not going to feel bad, you're not going to feel sad. You are going to use whatever outcomes, good or bad, as learning opportunities to continue to move forward. If you can reframe decision making in this way, it takes that edge of how to make decisions. It takes away that fear of getting things wrong, because really and truly, there is no such thing as a wrong decision. A decision is a decision. It's how you feel about it that is the most important thing when you make that decision. Another practical thing for you to do to really build up this pillar is represent what elegance looks like physically. Now, I know I did say it's not about makeup and all of that, but at the same time, you want to be well composed. You want to be a woman who matches the things that she desires. You want to be a woman who matches the highest version of herself. If you say to me you want to be a millionaire, but you are not dressed like a millionaire, there's a mismatch somewhere. And so you have to look and feel and become the embodiment of the vibration of elegance. You have to look like a woman who's intentional. You have to look like a woman who has capacity to communicate clearly. You have to look like a woman who has discernment. And so go into your wardrobe, pick out things that are no longer matching that energy, and begin to incorporate things that really bring out that elegance. It could be new colors that come into your wardrobe. It could be new styles. It could be just one switch that you make in your wardrobe that shifts that mindset of you becoming a woman of elegance. Remember, elegant women do not force respect. They just embody it. The third pillar, graceful. What does this pillar mean? Graceful is the energy of softness. It's my favorite energy, actually. It's my favorite pillar because it's about tempering strength with softness and flow. Graceful is about emotional intelligence. It is about intuition. It is about trusting in the weaving and the flow and the essence of life, knowing that everything is working out in divine order and for divine good. Grace is also about resilience, how you show up in spite of. It's also about the extent to which you give yourself self-compassion, self-love, and self-trust. A graceful woman knows how to bend without breaking. She knows how to swim without drowning in her emotions. She knows how to move without forcing. So she steps into this pace of ease and grace, literally ease and grace. What does graceful look like in this pillar? Graceful looks like remaining centered even when there's change. Graceful looks like feeling emotions without your emotions taking you over. So it is about being able to tune in with your emotions, but you're not overwhelmed, you're not submerged by those emotions that you lose yourself in them. Graceful is also about capacity to receive help and to receive support. Many women don't open up themselves to be helped because there's a stigma about feeling weak if you ask for help. But being graceful is to say, I need support, and to go and find that support, knowing there's no shame in that support, and knowing actually vulnerability is actually part of your strength. Grace is also about leading from compassion, leading with compassion as well, and honoring those boundaries that you set. And then grace is about trusting the timing. And this is the whole hallmark of what it means to be feminine. Femininity is all about ebbing and flowing, fluidity, ease, and grace. And so as a woman embodying this pillar, this is one of the critical things that you have to be willing to do. Let go of control and allow yourself to trust in divine timing. Allow yourself to remember that there is no wrong place or wrong time. Everything is always working out for your greatest good. So grace is not about being passive. It is not about self-sacrificing to the point where you are completely depleted. It is not about giving from an empty cup. It is not about over-accommodating and never saying no to other people. It is not about you feeling less than yourself. A woman who is graceful is going to experience emotional steadiness. She is going to really be embodied in her intuition, and she's going to be really, really deeply embodied in her feminine energy. If you are stuck on this pillar, you are likely someone who is burning out. You are likely someone who likes control too much. You are emotionally suppressed. You are hyper independent. And you may actually experience resentment because of your overgiving. So to find balance in this area, Ask yourself these 3 questions. What am I forcing instead of allowing to flow? What support do I need and how will I ask for it? How can I soften and still stay strong at the same time? If you can ask yourself these questions and really reflect on your answers, those answers will guide you into becoming a woman of far, far more grace to yourself and to others as well. Final thing, practices that you can do. Grace is about going back into your body, breath work, movement, dance, journaling. These are the things that will help you to receive love, receive insights, enhance your intuition, and really build up on your feminine energy as well. Graceful women are not weak. They are fluid. They are fluid enough to remain powerful.